All right, hello once again, Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College. I'm now within the confines of Rankin, so if it's a little loud in the background, I apologize. And I wanted to mention too, I believe that the program as I wrote it and left it the other day actually did work. I just wasn't very patient with it, and I think that for whatever reason, the emulator was having a hard time catching up. So I'm going to reconnect, or at least attempt to reconnect here, and run the game again. There are a couple things I want to say about this, however. When again, to do this, whether you realize it or not, you are programming. You may not be writing code per se, but you need to understand the logic of what's going on in order to have things happen the way you want them to happen. So some things I might want to start thinking about, as an example. All right, when you look at this right here, well, we mentioned before that we put our guess in, we click check guess, and let's say down here it says it's too high. All right, then basically what happens is this clears out and the cursor goes back here, but the message stays in here. Do we want that message to stay there? That's something you have to think about. If you don't, you could make that text basically go away as well. All right, so these are all things that as a developer, you have to start thinking about things like this. Some of them may make sense and some of them may not, but I'm going to try to play the game again. Let's see what happens. So I'm going to guess 50, right in half. The guess was too low. 75. Still too low. 87. Still too low. 97. Now it's too high. 90. Too low. 94. Still too low. 96. Too high, so it has to be 95. Sure enough, we guessed the secret number. Now the other thing we could do, and I didn't do it, I manually make you generate a new random number, and I keep that up there at any time, but what we could do, as soon as we guess the secret number, we could call generate random number, and I don't think we're calling that right now as soon as we guess the number. But let's try it again. 50. Now it's too low. Still too low. What was the number we just had? 94, I think. That's too low. 100. Too high. 97. Too high. All right, so let's generate another secret number. What should happen over time is we shouldn't keep getting all these numbers that are over 50. All right, there should be some high numbers, and notice this one, now we're down probably in the 60s or 70s. Well, somewhere in between there. We're in the 60s. And then I want to quickly show you kind of the key to playing this game, which you may or may not have thought about before. Guessed it again. Okay, generate number. Now if I say 50 and I click check guess and it says your guess was too low, now I've already eliminated 50 of my possibilities. In other words, all the numbers from 1 to 50 don't make sense anymore because I guessed 50 and it was too low. So I'm going to take half of what's left, which is 75, and check. It's still too low. So in two guesses, I've eliminated 75 out of my 100 possibilities. I keep cutting the list that I have left in half. So the next would be around 87. That's too high. So now I know the number must be between 75 and 87. So I keep going in half all the time. So 81. All right, so now it has to be between 76 and 80. All right, well now it's got to be 79 or 80. So it's just a process of elimination. And there we guessed it. So you can always play that. In fact, this is a game I used to play with my children who are now all in their 20s, but back when they were kids, and we, the old, we're on a long car ride type of thing. Well, now essentially what you could do is you could bring along your tablet, and they could play the game themselves with this. Okay? So that's it for the last part of this game. I'm then now going to come back, and one more thing I wanted to mention, and I will in a second, but when I come back, I'm going to add sound to this. I've been typing the numbers in here manually, which are fine, but I also have the keyboard in here. So I can generate a new number, and I can go 50, and I can do it like that and tell it to check the guess, okay, etc. And when I want the keyboard to go away, I just click done. All right, just so you're aware of that. And there's, and let's face it, most of the time when somebody's using the device, they will be using their own keyboard. I'm just doing it the way I'm doing it because I'm trying to show you it in what I consider to be the most straightforward way possible. Hopefully you agree. So I'll be back with a speech-enhanced version of this game in just a couple minutes.